Hey everyone, it's Mr. Hollywood, and today is day 81 of my 200-day posting streak goal, and this is also part 1 of 2 of videos I'm doing today because I'm doing a doubleheader for the next 5 days, and I'm doing MLB Decade rankings. I'm doing today the top 25 MLB players pre-1940, and some players on this list did overlap in the 1940s, but I'm only looking at their stats pre-1940. So before I give you who I think are the best players pre-1940, feel free to share who you think are the best players pre-1940 down below in the comments. And let's begin. Now coming in at number 25, I'm going to go with Bill Dickey, who didn't quite even have 1,700 hits, but did have almost a 900 OPS, which was pretty high in the dead ball era because people were not having these insane OPSs. So yeah, he does crack in at number 25. Number 24, I'm going to go with Paul Wanner, who had over 2,800 hits and a 411 on base. I think that is pretty good in the dead ball era, so he will be my number 24. Number 23, I'm going to go with Mordecai Three Finger Brown, who have a 2.06 career ERA. Number 22, Mickey Cochrane, who was a catcher that played in the 1920s. And even though he didn't even have like 2,000 hits, he did have over a 410 on base, which I think is great for a catcher. Now coming in at number 21, I'm going to go with Charlie Gehringer, who had played sometime in the 1940s, but pre-1940 had over 2,500 hits and had a 324 average and a 408 on base. Coming in at number 20, I'm going to go with Cap Anson, who didn't even play a single game in the 1900s, but did have over 3,400 hits. So that was, for me, good enough to squeak him in here at number 20. Coming in at number 19, I'm going to go with Grover Cleveland Alexander, who did have over 2,000 strikeouts and a 2.56 career ERA. Now coming in at number 18, I'm going to go with Archie Vaughn, who I think is a top 10 shortstop of all time, and did play a bit in the 1940s, but pre-1940 had over 1,400 hits, but also had a 418 on base. So for me, that is good enough to squeak him here at number 18 pre-1940. Number 17, I'm going to go with Al Simmons, who played very briefly in the 1940s, but pre-1940 had over 2,800 hits, over 300 home runs, and a 383 on base. Now coming in at number 16, I'm going to go with Lefty Grove, who only played a little bit in the 1940s, but pre-1940 had over 2,000 strikeouts, 286 wins, and a sub-3 ERA. So yes, Lefty Grove is definitely one of the best pitchers of this era. Now coming in at number 15, I'm going to go with Eddie Collins. And number 14, I'm going to go with Nap Lajway. They're basically very similar. We're both batting in the 330s. Both had over 3,200 hits, and both played second base. So yeah, for me, they're very good being back-to-back. Number 13, I'm going to go with Hack Wilson, who didn't even have 1,500 hits pre-1940. Actually, didn't even play a single game in the 1940s, so didn't even have 1,500 career hits, but had over a 900 OPS and had some pop. So for me, that is good enough to put him here at number 13. Number 12, I'm going to go with Mel Ott, who overall career, he's a few spots higher, but he did play still a good bit in the 1940s. But in the pre-1940s, he still had over 2,000 hits, 388 home runs, 424 slugging, 561 OPS. Or 424 on base, 561 slugging. So almost a 1,000 OPS. So yes, Mel Ott definitely had some pop and definitely is a player I feel like still transcends his time. And he also played a bit in the 1940s, but pre-1940s, he would still be my number 12. Number 11, I'm going to go with Christy Mathewson, who I feel like a lot of people would probably put in the top 10. And that's fair enough. I mean, a 2.13 career ERA, had, over 4,000 innings pitched, and was one of the best pitchers of his era. But for me, I do tend to value hitters more, especially in this time period. So for me, Christy Mathewson did just miss out on the top 10. Now coming in at number 10 is Cy Young, who had over 2,700 strikeouts, also had 511 wins, which is the most of all time, which, even though I don't think wins are necessarily the most meaningful stat, having the most wins of all time definitely shows that you were still very good and had, I believe over 5,000 innings pitched. So yes, for me, even though Cy Young is not even in my top 10 pitchers of all time, for me, I do think his play still transcends the late 1800s and early 1900s. Now, coming in at number 9, easily the best pitcher in this era, Walter Johnson, who had a 2.17 career ERA, had over 3,400 strikeouts, and overall, I think he is the best pitcher of this era, over 100 shutouts, and yeah, I do think he is the pitcher of this era who I do think still lives on to be, for me, just outside the top 10 pitchers of all time. So he will be my number 9 player pre-1940. And number 8 will be Honus Wagner, who is absolutely one of the best shortstops of all time. And, he was just great. He had over 3,000 hits, over a 325 career average, and was basically a four-tool player. Not really had much pop, but other than that, Honus Wagner was great, and I still think he is one of the best shortstop of all time, and he will be my number 8 player pre-1940. Number 7, Tris Speaker, over 700 doubles, the most of all time, and over a 340 career average. So, yes, I do think Tris Speaker is one of the 5 best contact hitters of all time, and I do think he is the number 7 player pre-1940. Number 6, I'm going to go with Shoeless Joe Jackson, who didn't even have 2,000 hits, but had a 356 career average, which is the 3rd most of all time. And if it weren't for the White Sox scandal in 1919, I think he could have made a push for top 5. But overall, even with a short career, Joe Jackson, for me, is still one of the best players of all time, and absolutely one of the best players pre-1940. Now, coming in number 5 is someone who you could argue might even be one spot higher if I'm just going by overall career, but they still played a little bit in the 1940s. Jimmy Fox, who probably would still be number 5 on this list when it comes to overall career, had over 2,000 hits, had 476 home runs pre-1940, over 500 in his career, and had a 440 on base and 645 slugging, almost in 1,000, or over 1,000 OPS in his career, and over 1,000 OPS pre-1940. So yes, Jimmy Fox is a top 5 player pre-1940, and he will be slotting here at number 5. Number 4, Rogers Hornsby, over 300 home runs, just shy of 3,000 hits, a 358 career batting average, which is 2nd most of all time. I think he is the best second baseman slugger of all time. So I think offensively he's the best second baseman. He would be my number 2 second baseman overall of all time. However, overall, Rogers Hornsby is absolutely one of the best of all time, and he will be number 4 pre-1940. And the top 3 will be everyone's top 3, and I feel like the order is also pretty clear. Number 3, Ty Cobb, 366 average, the highest of all time in MLB history. Over 4,000 hits, 2nd most hits of all time, stole a ton of bases, and overall, Ty Cobb, even though he didn't have a lot of power, he basically did everything. I think he's the greatest contact hitter to ever live, and he is absolutely the number 3 player pre-1940, and I would say just a top 15 player of all time. Number 2, Lou Gehrig, who I would put just outside the top 10 of all time, but he was great. Almost 2,000 RBIs, over 2,700 hits, over 400 home runs, over 1,000 OPS, and had the most consecutive games at the time. And his career was cut short, as we all know. I feel like if it weren't for the disease he was going through, he could have had a chance at being number 1. But overall, he's still absolutely the number 2 player pre-1940. But absolutely the number 1 player pre-1940. I feel like there shouldn't even really be a question. It's absolutely Babe Ruth. To me, Babe Ruth is still the greatest MLB player to ever live. And, Babe Ruth could do everything. He had almost 3,000 hits, over 700 home runs, the highest slugging in MLB history at 690, had over 1,100 OPS for his career, had over a 470 on base, the 2nd most of all time, and is top 5 in RBIs of all time, over 2,000 RBIs, and was even a pretty good pitcher, had a sub-3 career ERA as a pitcher, and, I mean, he still threw over 1,000 innings as a pitcher. So, yeah, for me, there really isn't anything Babe Ruth couldn't do. He is, to me, still the greatest MLB player to ever live, and absolutely the greatest MLB player pre-1940. Now, thanks for watching. Feel free to share who you think the best MLB players pre-1940 are down below in the comments. And this is video number 1 on my day 81 of my 200-day posting streak goal. Now, thanks for watching, and peace out.